This is Bert Delisle here with the Edmonton Woodturners Guild. And at the last Lucid meeting, it was suggested that we all take on a challenge on showing everybody how we set up our systems for recording and for demonstrating. Well, I'm looking at it from the guild level or club level point of view, where we want to keep everything really simple. And so what I've done here is I'm running a Zoom meeting by myself, and I've turned on record, and I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of what we have or how we do it. May not be the best way, but it's what works for us, and it's relatively simple. And if you've got a laptop, a television, and a camera, it's simple. And I'm going to go through some photographs here of let's see, that's what I want to do. Okay, so we start off with what you're seeing there is you see a box, and there's a bag there with some tripods in it, and then there's a little suitcase, and that little suitcase contains all of the electronics. We've got a couple cameras and a bunch of cables, and this is what we'd consider our portable unit. If we had to go someplace to another guild or another place and put on a presentation, we have a 55-inch television in that box, and the rest of the equipment in the suitcase is a series of cables. We have a USB and a 110-volt power supply. We have a pair of cameras. We have the extendable arms and a couple of flexible arms, and our USB cables and our HDMI cables, and everything we need to set up a demonstration. So there's a shot of what it looks like. I just threw the television up on a bench here in the shop, powered it up. On the table you can see that there's the power supply, and you can see a little box that has, we have two cameras, so we plug in both cameras into this little box, which actually then outputs to a single television. And there's a little button on the front of this box that allows us to switch between cameras. So that's a basic setup, that even without a computer. Now, if you have a computer as well, that same little box can take an output from the computer into that little box and present whatever's on your computer onto the big screen. So if you have a group of people watching the big screen, you can share your desktop with them. And then when you move on to the demonstration, you can switch to the cameras. So this would be an example of putting the tripod up with a camera set up over top of the headstock. And you can see it's got an extendable arm and a flexible joint in it, and our little cameras. The cameras are pretty interesting because we bought ones that are capable of not only outputting to television live, but it'll also record as we're doing that. So that's an advantage if we want to later on go back and edit the video and put it up on our guild's YouTube page. And there's another look at the just a picture of the tailstock camera. I just set it up, and you can see the headstock camera in the image. And yeah, that's the basic setup for how we'd set up in our demo at a meeting. We would the lathe would be front and center, and we put our cameras on both ends of it and feed it to the little box to go to the televisions. In our club meetings, we actually have two televisions, so we basically plug each camera into its own television, and so we don't have to switch from one camera to the other. There are 65-inch televisions. People can watch whichever angle they like to see, and we found that works really well. It's really simple, and it's really effective. Now I'm going to stop sharing. And now we're just going to step through what I normally do in my shop. So if I'm doing a demonstration for Zoom or for the club, and I'm doing it from my shop, I've got, right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras, and all I'm using is a laptop and a USB hub. It's just a little tiny USB hub. And let's see if I can take this. I'll take this other camera out here, and we'll walk around with this camera. That's the one. Okay, so if I can use this, And we'll slowly, there's my laptop. And over here is my hub. When I was moving my cables around, I ended up inadvertently unplugging my camera. So this is just a USB hub. It's not a powered one. It's just a USB 2 hub. It has 4 ports on it. I have 4 cameras connected to it, plus the camera that's in the laptop. So I actually have 5 cameras available for this Zoom session. So when I get down to here, I can see if I can do this now. And to control the cameras, I can either go like this and hit this button on here. Oops, I guess I gotta put this down here. So there you might be able to see all the cameras that I have available. And right now I'm using the life cam because it's on the end of a cable. I can move it around and I can select any one of the cameras that I want by just clicking on here, or alternately I can hit Alt-N on the keyboard. So walking through from the hub, we have the cables, and I've got the cables routed up through a hook, which is mounted on a flexible arm attached to the ceiling, so I can put it where it needs to be. And one of those cables will go over to this camera, which is setting up, looking down at the workpiece. And then above it, I have another camera that's giving pretty much the same angle, but from a little bit further away. And these are just Wise cams. I think they were like 30 bucks or whatever when I got them. And you plug a cable on, reconfigure them so that they can be webcams, and voila, we're in business. Now here on the tailstock end, I've got an adjustable arm that comes down, and I've got another Wise cam pointed at the tailstock. The second Wise cam there is actually just configured as a normal Wise cam, and I use it to record. It just records. The one that's a webcam is working in the Zoom meeting, and the regular Wise cam is just recording. So I've got capture of whatever I'm presenting, or if I'm doing something in the shop, a lot of times I'll just leave it on, just in case something interesting happens and I want to capture it. Also, if I pan over here slowly, you'll notice up on the wall there I've got a pan cam, and I've used that one as well, and it's actually been really nice to have, because I did have an incident the other day where it got a little bit exciting, and I don't have it on this computer right now, but maybe I'll edit it into this Zoom meeting and show you what it actually captured, and why I like having a couple of cameras just recording what's going on in my shop. Because when I'm out here by myself, if my wife wants to take a look and see what's happening in the shop, she can just log in and take a look. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to, I'll just use the Alt-N function and switch to another camera view. So that's the one camera view that's right above the headstock, fairly close. It's about 8 or 10 inches away. So it's below my face mask, and anybody that's going to be able to see anything would be able to see it. If I wanted to bring it a little bit closer, I could. I can turn the angle. Because these brackets are flexible and adjustable, I can put it wherever I want it to be. The same with the tailstock one. The tailstock camera is on swing arms that can be adjusted back and forth and up and down, so I can basically place it wherever I want. And there's the one that's up above the headstock. Again, that one's about 3 feet away from the work. You can see the back end of the small camera, which is a little bit closer. And these are all just USB into a hub, and it's simple. When I have my laptop sitting beside the lathe when I'm doing a Zoom meeting or doing a Zoom demonstration, so that I can come back to the lathe, and the lathe, it's sitting right beside the lathe, so I can access the computer to do the Alt-N switching. And of course, being as I'm using a USB microphone and headset, unfortunately, because it's a tethered system, I have to be within 10 feet of the computer. So, but that works. It works for me in my shop. And it's, again, it's really, really simple. I've done this type of demonstration using only the camera on the computer. So it can be that simple. I had to build a little bracket to hold the camera, hold the laptop up so that it was pointed in a direction that worked. That was one of the earliest Zoom demonstrations I did. I didn't have any other cameras and I wasn't sure how to do it, so I just used the laptop alone. We've had other guild members do the same with just using an iPad. Set the iPad up on a tripod, point it towards a piece of work, and then they were able to do a demonstration for a guild meeting. It's that simple. You need a device that's capable of attaching to the internet and able to run Zoom, and you're in business. I really, really appreciate the work that the Lucid Woodturners have done for getting this information out to the massive amount of people that are doing this. They use a lot of technology where you're running multiple cameras at the same time into a mixing software and giving you lots of professional opportunities to do some really, really neat enhancements and picture-in-picture, and there's a lot of really, really good things for making demonstrations really, really nice. My focus has been, I don't want to have to learn a whole bunch of new software. I want to keep it as simple as possible and just staying at the club level. And I really, really appreciate watching the IRDs, and I've watched several of them. The AEW Symposium did a tremendous job of getting it out there on a Zoom format. And we've had remote demonstrations in our guild, and I think they're really, really great. And the people that invest the money to get the equipment to do a professional presentation, my hat's off to them, because I know it's a lot of work. When we do our guild meetings, we generally have a couple of people, a couple of hosts, so that we could share the load. So one person trying to run a meeting and participate in a meeting and do a demonstration can get a little hectic. So we found that it's nicer to have two people to be able to share the load, read the chats, interact with the people on texting, and then let the demonstrator demonstrate, and we'll go from there. Anyway, I guess I'll cut this short now. This is what the Edmonton Woodturners Guild is doing to date, and we're learning every time we do one. We learn something new, and we like to have fun. Everybody stay safe, and yeah, that's about it. Take care.